a sneaky $100,000. I'll take that if you don't mind.
Yeah. 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 It was, I mean, because of that four alternate ending thing, it's so like no one is gonna say that it's not awkward, in the
Oh,
moment. I feel
Suddenly hits you and then realize it's out of your head.
Bella,
hello, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
How you been? Where you been?
Today taking a little bit of a nap. This morning I went and got my first Pfizer, so I feel a bit rough.
Oh, is this after your first?
After my second.
Oh,
I just
yeah.
got my second.
I had my second on Monday, and apart from a real dead arm, seriously a dead arm, I'm fine.
Oh, that's so good.
Which is surprising because so many people in the office have had their second and they're just, they're out. They're tapping out. They're done.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think I'm probably a little bit tired as well. So
Why? Have you had a big week or something? Have I missed something?
To trust the voice within.
So good to chat with you. Thanks for hanging with us.
no, my pleasure. It's lovely to meet you also.
Yeah,
Hello.
same to you. And I'm sure we're going to be chatting a lot more through your career. But wow, what a week it's been for you. Let's go. Can we go back to the start? Because you're singing in church. Is that what we've learned through the whole voice procedure? Is that where your singing started?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a singing teacher as well, but that's where I kind of started singing. I'd never really sung much before that. And then I started going to like a youth group when I was 15 and started singing.
Wow. And when you were 15, did you kind of have the ideas of what you wanted to do in music? Were you thinking, okay, the music on stage in general and you fronting, or maybe a bit of musical theatre? What were you kind of aiming at back then?
No, I wanted to be a midwife. I didn't have any interest.
Wait,
at all.
what?
I never felt particularly like I wanted to do anything in the music industry at all.
Right.
And I started singing more in church, and then I started teaching, and I really liked that and enjoyed that. But it was honestly only like late last year when I applied that I was like, maybe I should like give it a go.
What was it when you applied? What were you think? What was in your mind at the time going, oh, let's just give this a go? I mean, because, you got to give things a go, but what was it that
Yeah.
for you, knowing that you wanted to be a midwife to let's apply for the voice?
Yeah, I mean, the application came up on my computer.
Yeah.
And I just kind of literally in my application, one of the questions obviously is, why do you want to, audition? And I'm pretty sure my answer was along the lines of like, I just thought that I would give it a go. I don't know. I don't know what like prompted me to all of a sudden just decide to do that or whatever, but I just saw it. And, COVID's been so challenging for everyone. I haven't been teaching because you're not allowed to sing in New South Wales. I didn't really have much on my plate like professionally.
Yeah.
So I just thought that I kind of it would be a nice positive thing for me to do.
Why not? And as we learned through the voice, you've always given to others, and we were learning about all that, and of course your family, but to do this for yourself, and we got to the end of learning that you were doing this for yourself. How do you feel about? I mean, not the winning side, but just in general, how do you feel about you actually doing this for yourself?
Yeah, I like awesome. It actually feels so good, and it was really, honestly, through the filming of the show, it was terrifying. I was really like unsure and nervous, and just like not hesitant, but just like it felt wrong, or it felt very different for me. And sort of like once the show wrapped and I could get my head around what had just happened, and that I actually did an awesome job and that I did my best and that people loved that. And it was really encouraging and gave me a lot of like confidence personally.
Wow.
So that changed my perspective of myself and the pursuit of things for my future.
Have you learnt more about yourself through this process, and what have you learnt?
Yeah, hugely. I think, Guy was such an awesome coach and mentor to me through the whole process. And the way that he articulates like the combination of his faith but also like his professional life is really cool and really freeing. So it was awesome for me to kind of learn and understand that I can be really passionate about what I do and love what I do, and be awesome at it, and like, you know, share and share, you know, what I can with others. And that's okay. Like, that's actually good and allowed and exciting, you know.
And even though Guy was your mentor, your coach, were you learning from all four of the coaches?
Yeah, I think, you know, they're all such awesome pillars in the industry, but also in really, which is so cool. So, and all have like awesome personalities, just as like nice humans. Keith was like really cool to hear from. He would say like little comments and little things that you would just never really think of or like put in it that way. Like he's just really wise and so friendly and just really down to earth. So it was awesome like interacting with him a bit too.
Everybody hurts sometimes.
It was interesting watching The Voice and watching the coaches and listening to what they're saying. We've had all four of the coaches on the show, and that you're right. They have their own different style, their own different personality, their own different. Everything's different, but to reflect that when you're talking to them as people and releasing their new song and talking about their albums or whatever we're talking about, to seeing them on stage to help upcomers, it's so amazing that they get to do that, and it's not just a show on camera. And from my perspective of speaking with all four of them, it's like, no, that is what they are like. And you see the bad things in the media about whatever, who cares? But it's like, that's not them. That they're actually helping, and that is what they are like. And I really love that about these artists.
Yeah, seriously, they were personally invested, especially like, I mean, Guy was my coach, so I can speak more personally. And I feel so lucky that, you know, he was my coach, but he's so personally invested into my life and, you know, my future career, and like that's invaluable to have that support.
We're actually due to have Guy on the show. I think it's either this week or next week. It's one of the weeks. But I ask a question for you about Guy. Did he ever talk about his house? Because every time he comes on the show, that's literally what we talk about, is his house. And I've never met a man who is so excited about his blinds.
Like I don't know, like his home is unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's unbelievably stunning. Like it's gorgeous. Like
his studio is amazing.
Yeah, it's stunning.
Yeah.
Like my jaw fell to the floor. And it's like totally testament to his like long career and his hard work over the years. And it's like, I feel like it's probably like their baby, you know, their home, they've invested into it. But I couldn't believe it when I saw it.
It's crazy, but you know what? Success, it pays off. And look, you could have a house like that. You know, there's nothing stopping you. But let's talk about you and the Voice itself. I mean, congrats on the win. It's a big thing for you and a big stepping stone for any artist who wins. But I've got to say, with watching the previous ones compared to, the previous years compared to this year, I actually found it more enjoyable. And I found it more enjoyable because I felt like it didn't drag out for so long. And you're going through this, like, we just got to the point, we got to the rounds, we got to the finals, the semis, and it happened, and then we had the winner. Watching it previously, how did you find it being in it?
Yeah, I mean, I think along with the timing and the structure of the show, there was like a positive energy about it as well. So it felt refreshing to watch, and that the focus was on the artists and their development as artists, and Australia engaging with that rather than like any kind of behind the scenes things that maybe weren't, you know, as positive or engaging. So I think that the structure, you know, in combination with like Channel 7 obviously revamping and rebooting it was really like a perfect storm, especially in like COVID time. People just want something positive to watch and enjoy, and like family like we're all at home with our families, you know. So I enjoyed it. I loved it. And like it was a lot of us was from Sydney, and it was filmed in Sydney. So I had the benefit of still being at home.
Was it
But they were
filmed at Fox Studios, or was it filmed at the Sydney Olympic Park area?
Carriage Works.
Oh, yeah, right. Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's at Sydney Olympic Park, that area, isn't it?
It's like near Annandale.
Yeah.
Or not, but like near the inner west of the city, kind of.
Yeah, right, right. And how long did it take the filming from start to finish? Like, was it a couple of month process?
Yeah, it felt really long, and then it felt really short. So we filmed at the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
And everything at the beginning of the year, obviously, to just make sure that COVID wouldn't interfere, which it would have. So it's so lucky that.
Oh, thank goodness it happened then at the start of the year and not now.
Yeah, but I think like my first off-camera audition was in October last year.
Oh, wow.
And we started filming right at the beginning of 2021.
Yeah.
Wrapped in March, April.
I love how it works. And I saw on your Instagram that when the announcement was made, you're sitting there. Is that with your other half? And who was the young lady? Because we saw her on the telly as well. So that's your sister. Right. Okay.
Yeah, so time.
Yeah.
She's like, yeah.
Okay. And tell us about that moment, because it was obviously filmed, and I was assuming the TV magic that they filmed was at 4 different endings. And that's how how they do it and stuff like that. But that moment right there, when they said your name, we saw you broke into tears, and your sister and your other half were just beside themselves, which is an amazing thing. But tell us that moment right there, knowing that you have a record deal. Not only have you won The Voice, but you're sneaking $100,000. I'll take that if you don't mind.
Yeah, yeah. It was. I mean, because of that four alternate ending thing, it's so like no one is gonna say that it's not awkward. In the moment of film.
It's awkward. I'm not even there. It would be awkward. Yeah. You going, yeah, and it's like, okay, now we're gonna film them winning.
Yeah, and like, you want to protect yourself as well. So as much as you want to have that like genuine celebration, and you want Australia to see that genuine celebration, you also get too far ahead of yourself and let yourself go to that place of like, oh my God, I just won. It's like, actually, you don't know yet. So sitting on I was like, I really didn't know what was going to happen. Like, I really wasn't sure who was going to win, especially after the so I was so shocked, and then I like felt this overwhelming flood of like relief and excitement and joy, and like, financially even, it's huge for me. So like, I think that's probably why I was sobbing, to be honest. Just the idea of not being in debt is like, we were sobbing. And it's been a rough year, and that's why my both like, I can't believe something good is happening in our life.
It's just like, it's such an incredible opportunity, and I love when these shows get to do this for artists that want to release music, because music is so powerful. No matter what the song is, or whether we're dancing in the nightclubs, or whether we're sobbing with our tissues in the corner, it doesn't matter. Music is so powerful. So to have the platform for artists to be able to do this, the 4 finalists though, like, you couldn't choose who was going to win.
100%. And like, they're all so like, it's the same as the coaches, funnily. Like, we're all in such different lanes. And like, I love all the contestants, but Alu's a really dear friend of mine. So like, and him on his own, like, you just never, like, I would have never said, oh, I think that this is what's going to happen, until I knew what was going to happen, because you just don't know.
It's just so interesting. Let's talk about your new single, Higher, which it's out. Here it is. Now you obviously sung it, but you didn't write it, did you? Is this all supplied to you? And what's the storyline that why you have the song Higher? Yeah.
So no one's, to be honest, like, briefed me on what I can and can't explain, but I'm just going to be forthcoming, because I don't know.
You can tell us what the song is about.
Yeah. So EMI writes the singles and then pitches them to the artists, and we kind of have the opportunity to be like, oh, I think that this is probably the most what would represent me, even if it's not necessarily exactly our pathway as an artist. It's something that they feel comfortable giving to us as our first single, and then they feel comfortable as it's marketable and could rep us well. And then also that has to come hand in hand with what the show and the producers from the show find important. So for me, it was like quite an interesting process to get there. There was like a few songs that were thrown around, and we ended up going with one that was a bit closer to what my kind of genre and pathway on the show was, which was good because it meant that my audience had some continuation.
Right.
Funnily, it was written by a man named Scotty and Michael Fatkin, who provided it to EMI, sold it, whatever. And I know him personally, just funnily. And the song is all about like journeying through mental health with a person that you love, and like addiction and any kind of sort of emotional challenge that a loved one might be going through, and how you can support them.
Wow. Oh, geez. And with your story, it kind of fits your story.
So exactly.
Wow. And this is on the complete collection, which is your songs that you've sung through The Voice. Out of all of them, I mean, there's always a favorite when an artist sings a song. There is always a favorite. My favorite is your version of Everybody Hurts. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. When we were watching it on the telly and you were performing it and, just chilling out, I was in my lounge with my young fella and I actually had to stand up. I couldn't sit down because my gooties everything was going. It's like, okay. And then my young fella who's 12, he's like, she's going to win, Dad. I went, I think you're right, mate. I think you're right. So he had you like, you're going to win. This is from a Trolley Rock. This is an incredible story. You're so rewarding, all that hard work and your personal life and everything. You brought that with us, and it's such an incredible thing. And a big congratulations to you. This is so cool.
Thank you so much.
It's going to be great. What are the plans? Like, where do you want to take your music anyway?
Yeah, I mean, I love Adele, obviously. Yeah. Like, a really strong like female artist in our industry that has a beautiful voice, a beautiful belt. But I also love like soul, R&B, like acoustic music. So there's an artist who I'm like obsessed with. I love her. There's like indie artist named Eloise who's amazing too. So anything that kind of bridges a bit of a big sing, but something that's really musically interesting, that has a bit of soul to it. And so anything that kind of
until the black sky turns to blue. I wanna climb a mountain with you.
Bella, it's so good to meet you. Thanks so much for hanging out, and congrats once again. And I'm sure we're going to hear a lot more from you, and we'll get you back on the show.
Sounds awesome. Thank you for having me.